1959-60 European Cup, Sparta Rotterdam. 1960-61 European Cup Winners' Cup, Borussia Mönchengladbach. 1961-62 European Cup, Standard Liège. 1964-65 European Cup, Internazionale of Milan. 1966-67 Cup Winners' Cup, Slavia Sofia. 1967-68 Fairs Cup was Leeds United. 1968-69 Fairs Cup, Athletic Club of Bilbao. 1971-72 Cup Winners' Cup was Torino. 1978-79 European Cup was Cologne. 1987-88 European Cup, Steaua Bucharest. The 1992-93 UEFA Champions League was Club Brugge, CSKA Moscow and Olympique Marseille. The 2007-2008 UEFA Cup was Sporting Club de Portugal. And the 2021-2022 UEFA Europa League was SC Braga. And the 2024-2025 UEFA Europa League will be Athletic Club of Bilbao once again. They've moved to a different stadium, the stadium that is hosting the final this season. But we've been to the old San Mames, we're going to the new San Mames. Did we get to lay the flowers? The Pichichi statue still there? They must have moved the Pichichi statue still there. So I've been hoping for it. I've been trying to make it happen all season. I've been just doing all the week and have superstitious things and what have you. And the superstition went through the roof as the rest of the world went through my a-hole tonight. We're going to Bilbao. We are going to Bilbao, and this reaction pod, and I need to stress this is a reaction pod because there is zero match reporting going on here. It's coming to you from a puddle, a human puddle. I mean, a specky one, a baldy one, damn good looking, not sensationally attractive one, obviously, but a puddle nevertheless, because my entire essence just became liquid during that game. My God. Rangers, yeah, again, man, it's the fourth time in the last 5 games we've gone 2-0 down. We've lost 4 straight games at Ibrox, over 90 minutes, whatever like that. But people have always warned us we shouldn't come to accept failure, and here tonight people were giving them a standing ovation for failing to win at Ibrox yet again. So I don't want to do the whole, you get these like the watch along. I've always wanted to do one of the things, the watch along pods. You watch somebody else watching a game that you should be watching, so it feels like you're watching it with them, and you can see them all milking it for the. They need to really put on. They need to give good face, don't they? They need to give good pods when. Lots of oohs and ahs and oh my God, and if you can see that last minute goal. For example, if you were like two goals up for the first leg in a crucial European tie, and you're doing well in the first half to keep it at 0-0, and then right in the stroke at half time, you can see the goal that completely transforms the tie. You'd be wanting these guys all to have to go up in the boot chairs about the room and all that, and go pure red faced, and the younger guys have got more energy for that kind of thing. So I do feel there's a bit of acting goes on in them. If I was to do, I've always wanted to do a live kind of watch along just to show you how ridiculous it is, because I just sit. Like if it was a game I'm watching the telly in the house, for example, Rangers away from home anywhere really, other than Hampden, I'll be watching it in the telly live. I could just set up the camera there and the live watch along, and me going, God, is she going to park that motor right next to? I'll try to watch the game. Oh, that's the Motherwell fella. He's did they buy him for Queen's Park? Just pick up the laptop, look up the guys. I've missed. I'll rewind that a bit, but I'm not watching it live now. Could you put that kettle on for a second? Are you there? Could you stick the kettle on just half time? It would be really quite boring. So I don't want to overdo the. Oh my God! You watched the game. If you cared, you'd know exactly what we all went through. But this could be the last thing I ever recall. I could have a massive heart attack. Massive coronary, because the way this season's been going, I can't believe I'm actually getting to see a club in Europe at Ibrox/Hampden, at Rangers' home stadium this season in Europe, that I haven't already seen before. Finally getting to see a new club, finally getting to see us play somebody that I need to get off. Well, I'll tell you the list I've seen. 70 odd of the 105 teams that have reached a European club final, and my life's work to see them all live in the flesh. And most of the other 29 or 27 I think I've got left are in the Europa League this season, and they keep getting drawn against other teams. And anyway, Athletic Bilbao, and Roma. I hadn't seen either of them, and now we're going to be playing it. I think the two films I've watched the most, it'd be Godfather 1. It'll be the first Godfather. Nobody calls it Godfather 1, obviously, show myself up there straight away. But it'll be Godfather and Heat. With Neil and I, The Searchers, American History X, Ang Lee's Sense and Sensibility. It's not depressing stuff, I mean, I have watched Seven Samurai, about a dozen times, but I'm not going to try and start making out that I'm into it. Three Colours White, that's Kozlovsky. The Three Colours trilogy. I have Decalogue. I've only watched about 2 of his Decalogue, and so I can't make out I'm too much of the proper art house cinema. I do love my art house cinema, but I've watched the entire Three Colours trilogy, or 3 of them. But definitely the White is the best of lot. It's the most kind of uplifting film I've ever seen in my life. But it's probably Godfather. But Godfather 2 is I've really watched it a lot. I have watched Godfather 2 a lot, almost as much, I would say, as Godfather 1, because unlike football matches that I go to, I don't keep a track of how many times I watch each film. You dip in, it gets to the point where it's a film that you know really well, you'll come in pissed for a night out and you'll stick it on the DVD, it was my day, but you'll put it on Prime or whatever it is, and your Blu-ray or something, and you just watch wee bits of it, dip into it like an album, a favourite album tracks and what have you, and you get to know wee bits of it really well. But it's somebody said to me today, "Oh God, man, you watched Heat so much. You must know more about Heat than anybody else because you watch Heat so much." But I talk about it a lot, but I don't. Films like that, they make you feel clever. Like Raging Bull, I've watched millions of times as well. It's a film I absolutely love. And it's not big, it's not impressive to love these films. Goodfellas, I went through a phase of watching Goodfellas a lot. It's a great film, but I don't watch it as much as the other ones. But it's kind of standard. There's just a trillion blokes in the planet who think they're original for loving these films, and I'm one of the blokes. I love these films because those films are really clever. You think when you spot one what's a great actor, it makes you clever as well. Look at what he's done there. The bit with the oranges, all the oranges. Everybody knows about the oranges in Godfather. It's not, but that's the films I've kind of probably watched more than anything else, but I still don't know. But it's like that whole thing. But I was yesterday o'clock. It was yesterday o'clock. I was today years old or something like that, when I discovered this and that. And two things, Godfather 2 and Heat, Michael Mann's Heat. I feel as if I discovered them both at exactly the same time, certainly in the same way. It was like, what? I've been watching these sober, pissed, depressed, happy, bored for like my entire life. It feels like, the first time I saw Godfather, the first time I viewed the Godfather trilogy, it was a Thursday night. It was a victorious, sporting Thursday night. It was dark, and my dad used to play dominoes at the Winton in Princess Street in Ardrusson. Winton Bar no longer there. He used to play dominoes for the Winton Dominoes team on a Thursday night. Thursday night was Dom's night. And whether they won or lost, he would come up the road because the proper drink was Friday, Saturday. So the Thursday night was a week of warm-up. Just starting to chill out, a hard-working man. So, but he would bring his chips. Eugene's was the chip shop across the road, kind of Italian chip shop. And these uniquely curly chips. And he would bring up a bag of chips at an age when my sister and I could both dip into a bag of chips, and that would keep us satisfied. But he would get us up by school night. He would get us out of our bed to come up and have some chips, and it was great. And those moments when you're a kid, when you're like kind of primary school age, and there's a moment of tension, anything between your mum and dad, you're like, oh my god, what's going on here? And I just remember sitting up one night, getting up, he'd get us out of our beds, it'd be about 10 o'clock, it'd be really late at night for a weeknight, and the film was on the telly, and next thing this guy's getting garroted, he's kicking the windscreen in a car. Like, Dad, why is he kicking that windscreen in? No, because the fella behind him was choking him to death, mate. And that was him getting done in by Pete Clemenza as the car drives away. It's quite a striking visual scene. It stays with you. I remember Mum going, maybe you should, my dad's like, maybe you should turn that off, turn that off. Chance to let the Wayne see a good film, it's not often Godfather. I had 3 channels then, so it turned over. But that was it. I remember seeing that as Godfather, and then I felt that a few years later, like when they did Godfather 2. They did that. I think they put it all in a kind of time order. The stuff, the chronological order that they got Godfather 2, and they mixed it with Godfather 1. So they started with all the flashbacks in Godfather 2. Of young Vito Andolini arriving, but anyway, the whole point is, I was say maybe 14, 15, probably when I started getting right into Godfather. You know, when you start 15, 16 maybe, you know. I remember I had enough hair to slick back, you know, like Michael Corleone. And especially particularly in Godfather 2, at the end of the first Godfather, I was just getting the brill came in there and slicking the hair back. Did that a lot, an absolute idiot. And you couldn't make anybody less like an organised crime boss than myself, as my behaviour tonight testified. You know, oh my God, are we going to just score again? Just score again, Fenerbahce. Get it done over me. Don't put us through penalties as well, because we're obviously going to get beat here. So brave, so ice cool, you know, under pressure. But I think you start thinking mature. These are mature films. These are really mature films. I love these kind of films. This is about me growing up, and then my taste didn't really change into my 20s and 30s. American History X, I say Raging Bull. You start getting into these films, and Scorsese, you know, Coppola, you know, Pacino, De Niro, that kind of stuff. And you think you know all about them. You think you're really mature, and then I was watching. I don't know when, what time, what moment that I realised watching Godfather 2, as I have a million times before, I must have looked it up. The guy who plays, do you know at the beginning of Godfather 2, and everybody's going to see Michael in his kind of study in his private room and all that during the confirmation for his son, but it's just like another set piece, like the wedding, Connie's wedding at the beginning of Godfather. So it's a chance for everybody to go and have a private word with the Godfather. Set up the whole thing again, get us going again. Connie goes in and she's got the guy who's obviously just like an overgrown toy boy who's just using her. And she's asking for Michael's blessing, I think, to get married, obviously to get money and what have you. And Connie's, the fact that Michael, her brother, has pretty much killed her husband and was probably right to do so, has messed her up. She's a bit of an emotional wreck at the beginning of the film, as poor Connie Corleone. And she's wanting permission to marry this guy, Merrill. Is it Merrill Johnson? His name is in the cast. And he's like, no. And Michael's sitting going, no, this guy's got no respect for you. He doesn't love you. And then they hold hands with each other, and Merrill's sitting there, total brass neck. He's got the suntan. He's just got the remnants. He's blonde hair. You're thinking, you've just been a playboy your entire life. You're totally obviously using Connie. He's brilliant at the role, the guy. And I'm thinking, that guy's really good at that. I wonder who he is. And I looked him up. Eventually I looked him up. And it's Troy Donahue. Merrill Johnson, played by Troy Donahue. And I'm like, who's Troy Donahue? I recognise that name. You know, and then you remember that he didn't just go straight from, you know, watching cartoons to watching Godfather, really mature, hard, butch, macho films. You had a wee phase where your favourite film in the world was Grease, a musical, which was on at the Regal. The Regal became the Metro nightclub in Saltcoats. Saturday matinees at the Regal, you used to go and watch Gumball Express or whatever it was called. I remember watching Smokey and the Bandit. There's a big car jump at the end of it, and the whole cinema were all like, yeah, the whole place is cheering it on. It was fantastic. But I remember watching Grease. Grease is the world, it's the place. It was mind-blowing. Grease, if you're my age, you'll remember what Grease was like. Summer Lovin' was #1 for like 20 weeks or something like that. It doesn't matter if they're all wearing leather jackets and that, like if there's wee kind of road races going on and what have you. It's a musical. It's camp as fuck. And that's what you were heavily into when you were 9. It was 1978 it came out. And Sandra Dee, you know the song when they're all there, they sleep over at the Olivia Newton-John character's house, and look at me, I'm Sandra Dee, and it's what's her name? That's oh God, what's she called? It's played. You're shouting it at me now. I know. Oh God, what's the name of the actress? What's the name of the character? Rizzo. The character is Rizzo, and I'll get the name of the actress later on. But you know, look at you, Troy Donahue. I know what it is you want to do. You know, and it's pictures of Troy Donahue all over the world, and he is indeed a total film star, a total sex icon. He's a sex symbol of the late 50s, early 60s. I think that's an absolutely brilliant piece of casting there. Troy Donahue was a hit in all these kind of naff films to appeal to teenagers. Really good looking guy. Lots of surfing films and things like that in the 50s and 60s. So this is a film made in 1978. And Troy Donahue, his real name is Merrill Johnson. Troy Donahue is his stage name. His real name is Merrill Johnson. So he's playing a character that's given his own. Turns out he's at school with Francis Ford Coppola, Merrill Johnson, and he hit hard times. Troy Donahue, as he got older, and all his looks were starting to fade. He still had the suntan and a bit of blonde hair left, but he's getting a bit fatter and what have you. And he had a few divorces. he had about 4 different wives, and I think he'd beat up most of them. I think it was accusations of abuse against most of them. He became a real kind of charitable guy. I did a lot of charity work on that in later life, and he fell in a hard time, so he actually was basically playing himself in Godfather, and he got 10 grand for a week's work. Francis Ford Coppola just got him in and said, just try and help him out, and he got and I thought, that's quite amazing. I've watched that so many times, I never knew that. And then I'm watching Heat, and there's a bit where the guy. I will talk about football later on. This is me talking about football. You should understand what's happening. This isn't me actually talking about the game tonight. Talking about the whole situation, and we go into Heat. I watch Heat all the time, as I say, and there's a bit where Michael Braden, played by Dennis Haysbert, he goes into Day's job. He's on parole, and he goes into he's feeling all kind of good about himself. His parole officer is also his lover. That's Kim Staunton playing Lily. She doesn't get a credit. Kim Staunton, fantastic wee bit of acting by Kim Staunton there. And he goes in. She's set up with this job as a grill man in a diner. So he goes in and he starts and the guy that owns the diner is totally horrible. He's like, you give me quarter of your pay, or else I'll report you to your parole officers drunk, or on drugs or something like that, being abusive, and you'll get kicked back to jail. And it's like, fuck, this guy's totally depressed. Oh my God. But eventually, Neil comes in and offers him the job, a getaway driver, so he just picks up the manager of the restaurant, and he throws him into the garbage. It's quite. But that manager, I'm like, he is quite good, that guy. He's quite snivelly, quite evil. He's played by Bud Cort, and it was about last year, I think, I found this out. I finally took the time to look at Bud Cort. Oh, that's his name, must memorise that. And I thought, I'll just look him up on Wikipedia and see, but he's Harold from Harold and Maude. I had no idea. And that is the film, that's my transition film from Grease. The Harold and Maude came out in 1971, I think, right early 70s, when I was only like 1-2 years old. But I saw it when I was about 11 or 12, just that kind of age. And I thought it was the most funny film I'd ever seen in my life. My wife's pal, who was in, she was in V-Twin. She's kind of, they were the kind of nice end of the Belle and Sebastian thing. But that's her favourite film of all time, is Harold and Maude. And I'm like, Bud Cort's in both their favourite films, and they couldn't be any more different. And I'm like, that's the guy who played Harold in Harold and Maude, and that was a film that I loved between Grease and between getting into Godfather and all that. And it's like, you felt as if I would have known those characters because I know those films so well. And Barry, it's the opposite. When Barry got the Rangers job, you're just like, well, it's Barry. It's Barry Ferguson. We know him so well. We know everything about that particular actor in the managerial sphere that he's just been thrown into. And he's just a lower league manager, a fantastic player and what have you. But he's just one of these guys. He's only managed Kelty Hearts, Clyde, Alloa. It's really just it's putting an awful lot on him. I actually felt sorry for Barry when he got the job as interim manager here, because I knew him. I knew all about Barry. No, I didn't. Barry, it hadn't occurred to me. I was tonight years old when I realised Barry played for Walter Smith in the team that got to the final in Manchester, the first final we'd reached in 36 years, the UEFA Cup final. What an accio. Anti-football, it was getting dubbed incorrectly, but it was getting dubbed anti-football because it was just sometimes painful. The excitement was all in how close it was. And there was that penalty shootout. Barry missed the penalty against Fiorentina in the shootout in Florence, which we eventually won, to get through to the European final that basically changed my life. That's just what I had to see before I died as a Rangers fan, was to see us back in a European final. I was only 2 and a bit when we won the Winners' Cup in Barcelona. This was the next final we get into. I didn't know Barry at all. I didn't know. I'm tonight years old when I realised it's not about the clubs that he managed. It's just about what he went through as a player. Barry Ferguson. I put the light out last night at exactly midnight, and I realised that because you've got my phone's probably the same age as there's that thing where it goes on to the final screensaver thing. It's just for a wee second or two you can just see the time, and it's just the big 4 digits, and it was 0000, and I thought, it's going to be 0-0. It'll be 0-0 tomorrow night. That's a sign for God that it's going to be 0-0. We'll be absolutely fine. I watched a bit of Sky Sports News tonight in the build-up. I don't know how many different channels. I don't know the structural The build of New Edmiston House has to be praised, because that balcony, I don't think anybody can get a cappuccino out in the balcony now at New Edmiston House, because there's just so many bloody reporters from so many different news channels out there tonight. Now, the balcony favoured by Philip Clement when he's shown the League Cup to the troops last season. They're out there doing the reports. Oh, it's the build-up just now, and it's getting darker and darker with each report that I saw. The guy in reporting Scotland, he was doing his report for the balcony out there. I'm thinking, what's a big queue then? They must all be taking it in turns to have their 10 minutes. Did you get quite... It's like trying to pee when there's too many folk in the trough. You know, you get quite self-conscious. You can't do the report when there's fellow reporters standing there and watching you, know. But as one of them, I think it was Luke Shanley for Sky, I just saw this. There was cars still. It was earlier on this afternoon. And the cars are all going past them. And one of the cars was a Mini. It was a red Mini with a lot of red cars, but it's now with a black roof. My own car's at red with a black roof. It's not a Mini, though. I can't afford anything like that. But it's car. And I thought, that's the Mini. That's the Mini. It's because it's the back of the Copeland. He's facing out the back of the Copeland. In the Spurs game, when we drew one each year with Spurs, I walked around the back of the Copeland to do my post-match reaction pod. And there was a Mini. Remember that? If you were in the Copeland, the back of the Copeland, straight after the Spurs game, the one each with Spurs, there was a Mini that was parked just right. No, let's see. I'm at the back of the Brimley just here, but see that bit there? The bits there, those parking bays right there, nobody parks there. You know, if they get in, there was a Mini parked there, and there'd been a notice placed on them, and everybody stopped to look at this Mini. You know, and I thought, that's that same Mini. It must be. So it means it's going to be one each. It's going to be one each tonight, and we're going to go through. And I had this hope that we was being 3-1 up for the first leg, and I'd convinced myself that Jose Mourinho wasn't in any way bothered about the result. I mean, if I saw that Dzeko and Tadic were on the bench after watching all the highlights, as a bit of research before this game, I watched all the highlights of Fenerbahçe, all the Europa League goals in the Europa League group stage, and in the last round, the playoff round, we'd have to play in them against Anderlecht. They were playing, and they were scoring all the goals. They were involved in so many of the goals and so much of the construction and build-up of the goals. And I was waxing lyrical about that trident that they formed me in the series last night in the preview pods. And Tadic and Dzeko, I thought he's packed it in. He's not interested. He's only interested in winning the Super League, because Fenerbahçe haven't won the league for over 10 years now, and that's the big ambition for them. That's all Jose's interested in. He doesn't care about Europe. And I thought, this is going to be one of... I was just hoping it was going to be like a kind of a 0-0, a one each, just a wee draw on the night. Very little tension. We're going to kind of cruise through it. The two teams are going to cancel each other out, and it was going to be a kind of a rhapsody in blue, kind of blue. Maybe not the Coltrane solo on blue and green, but maybe the Coltrane saxophone solo and flamenco sketches. It was just going to be something nice and smooth and enjoy, like Ang Lee's Sense and Sensibility or something like that, or the kind of cobalt. The blue, the gunmetals, now the colours, the kind of existential angst, but nevertheless gloriously bright and alert colours of Michael Mann's Heat. It was going to be something like that, maybe a bit of tension in the actual story itself, but the overall look of it is just kind of gorgeous and serene. And just it turned out it was actually more like the Saw franchise. I don't like Hellraiser. I hate all that stuff. Kind of slasher porn, the kind of torture porn stuff. Folk getting lots of nails put in their face and all their flesh pulled off their face at the same time. I can only get through a couple of my mates absolutely love Hellraiser. I tried to watch it a couple of times. It just gave me the boke and all that. I thought, what's the point of this? This is horrendous, But yet, folk getting their throat cut with their heat device during Casino. That's fine because that's real. What? So that's kind of strange. But it was that kind of thing tonight. I think if it was going to be any kind of musical thing you could compare it to tonight, it was like Hellraiser or one of the Saw franchise films, if the final scene was starring Emma Thompson and Hugh Grant, and it had a happy ending. Or it was musically, it was probably Metallica's One. Incorporating the video, you'd really have to have the video of the guy kind of getting, kill me, I can't feel anything, I can't even tell folk to kill me, it's all my limbs are gone, and and it's that the music it's satisfying, and it's artistically, it's right up there. It's an absolute classic, but Christ, it's torture, it's absolutely brutal, it's awful. I can't tell you a single thing about this. This is your Fatek post Rangers are through to their 14th European quarter-final in their illustrious maintained illustrious European history reaction pod coming to you in association with Gersnet. Check out Gersnet. Check out Gersnet tomorrow night, Friday night, or probably tonight by the time this, because we're heading for after midnight as it stands. Check out Gersnet tonight, Friday night. I think it's going to be John and Stuart, and thoroughly deserved because it's been a long, hard season. They get to review a night where Rangers just did the business. And looking forward to, I think I've got a wee game on Sunday as well, a kind of meaningless game on Sunday, but they'll mostly probably, I would imagine, be talking about this beauty tonight. But also check out again, just go to the Gersnet podcast. This isn't just to bum myself up, right? Me and Brian, in fact, it's the opposite. Last Friday, Brian, fantastic in the Gersnet pod last Friday night, hosting myself and having to put up with my patter. But remember, if you go into say go to the 11. It's 11 minutes and say start about 25 seconds. Go into about 11 minutes, 25 seconds. Just let it play for the next 10 seconds or so. I am talking about Barry being manager of Celtic Hearts and Clyde and Alloa and Blackpool caretaker manager, and how, you wouldn't think that qualified him to be Rangers manager in any way, especially in a big European tie. And this is the night after the first leg over in Istanbul. And I'm going to say, but of course, it's a really extreme example. But you do have Zinedine Zidane, who had no managerial experience other than managing Real Madrid reserves. And Real Madrid reserves are a pretty decent level in Spain. Obviously, Real Madrid reserves, Castile, they played in the Cup World Cup in 1980-81, I think, because they lost the Spanish Cup final to Real Madrid the previous season, while Real Madrid also won La Liga. Anyway, and I was like, Barry's not, obviously that's a really extreme example, but Zidane did come in, very little managerial experience, and then won 3 straight Champions Leagues as Real Madrid manager. So that's that's an extreme example, but it can be done if a manager doesn't have to have that much experience at the top level, but he's been a player at the top level, or at the level that he's now managing that he can work it. But what happens is, it must have been a jump. I think there's a jump in my Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi must have jumped or something, maybe a wee blur. So it misses out the bit where I say Zinedine Zidane. And it just goes, it's almost seamless. 11 minutes, 25 seconds. What did Frankie call it? The Gersnet pod last week. It's a pun on Turkish Delight. It was Turkish Delight. That was Turkish Delight or Full of Eastern Promise, something like that. Going to 11 minutes, see, hit it about 11 minutes, 25 seconds, and just watch as I'm talking. And I just seem to say, Barry, of course, managed Blackpool, Celtic Hearts, Alloa, Clyde, Real Madrid reserves, and then won the Champions League 3 times in a row. It's almost seamless. It's spotless. We're going, what? What did he just? No, so if you didn't watch it live, you'd be watching that back going, is he completely lost it? Is he getting really carried away? Barry's going to be Real Madrid manager and he's going to win the Champions League 3 years in the trot. But so go in and watch that. I'm sponsored by Gersnet, and I'm also sponsored by not looking at the score of the team, the tie involving the 2 teams, one of which you would play in the next round before your game kicks off. No, the whole thing of pre-drawing the whole knockout stage. It's the brackets. Look at the bracket. We knew if we were to beat Fenerbahçe, we would get either Athletic Bilbao or Roma. I'm glad we're not going to Rome. Bit stabby. And I just bumped into my pals, Diane and Robert there, and just had a laugh about the game and the state of it, the tension and what have you. And Robert's talking about going to Bilbao, and I was saying I'm glad it wasn't Rome, because internet these days, everybody knows everything about other clubs. It's not like they'd be going, oh, Scott says, hey, you wear skirts. It's really getting maybe would happen 30 years ago. Nowadays they know, oh, you hate the Pope and you hate Rome. Okay, we're ready for you. And they've got a bit of a reputation, the most Italian fans, but Roma and Lazio, Jesus. I mean, basically what Roma fans did to Liverpool fans ends up causing, and that led into Heysel the following year. The 84 final into the 85 final. But I was like, I left the house. I didn't realise that Athletic Bilbao against Roma was kicking off. It was kicking off before. It was an early kick-off. So I noticed I'm leaving the house. All right, Athletic Bilbao are winning 1-0. So it's 2 each on aggregate. They were all... And I get into the stadium the night, I get into the Ibrox, and I'm talking to everybody and I'm saying hello, and I couldn't help myself. And I just said to Craig, the boy in front of us, because I know he's... his phone's got my phone. I can't get a signal. What have you? I know he would know. He's always in the know. And I asked him, and he says, Bilbao, Athletic Bilbao won. That's who would be. And so I'm like, oh, that's who will be playing. And I'm like, no, don't. It's like if you're you get pictures of 2 players before a cup final. A player for each team. They're never touching the cup. They don't touch the cup before the actual final. It's bad luck. And I was like, it's going to be Athletic Bilbao. Is it, Alec? For Rangers, is it? and it felt like during that entire game I'd totally jinxed us. It was my fault. Total solipsism, total egomania, but that's how it felt. My name's Alec Anderson. I was thinking that night about Elvis, day that he died. I was thinking that night about Elvis, day that he died. Just a country boy who combed his hair, put on a shirt that his mother made, and he went on the air, and he shook it like a chorus girl, and he shook it like a Harlem queen, and he shook it like a midnight rambler, baby, like you've never seen. So, yeah, my name's Alec Anderson. I'm talking to you after Rangers have beaten Fenerbahçe 3-2 on penalties in the last 16 tie of the UEFA Europa League at Ibrox after the match ended 3 each on aggregate because Fenerbahçe beat us 2-0 at Ibrox in normal time. As I say, the fourth straight home game Rangers have lost, and I think it's the fourth time in the last 5 games that we've gone 2-0 down. So it was really that unpredictable. The team news tonight, and this is going to be the shortest match report ever because I've talked enough pish already, and I am just gone, emotionally gone. Nearly got myself into boiling it as well. Stuff going on all round us. That kind of night, you know. It's a mix, isn't it? It's a mix. When it's the European night, there's all what have we got? Maybe 40,000 absolute regular, solid, 35 to 40,000 season ticket holders. Let's say 35,000 of us definitely at least are there every single home game, and then you get a big European game, and suddenly there's the more kind of casual season ticket holders. They're there, and then you've also got a lot of people who are, you know, I've been many times in my life. I've not always had the season ticket back like 25 years ago now, and I would just sometimes just go to a European game, a couple of European games during a few of the seasons I was watching Rangers. I didn't have that much money and other things I had to get done, weekend jobs and things like that. So I'm not turning my nose up at tourists or anything like that. We need everybody to come along to see as we can get these days. But it's folk who don't know where they're sitting, don't know how the layout works and all that, and it's just, it can be quite kind of sit down and stuff. I can't see what's up. No, you don't sit here, mate. No, it's no in here, mate. That's the other row. That's the other. No, it's the other side of the stand, mate. You need to go up there. That kind of stuff going on. It can be a bit mayhem, but also just my nerves just completely gone tonight. And the game was just a blur of tension. I'm not going to start drinking. I'm going to start leaving the car at home, getting the underground in, and just drinking before games to just keep myself calmer. As I get older, I get more and more nervous. What did we do? We changed the. I'm not going. Silver Fox. I swear on Davy Cooper's left foot, I am crossing just at the Helen Street, the police station, that roundabout there. I'm crossing for the kind of Shield Hall Road side, obviously heading over towards Edmiston Drive, the opposite side to KFC in the police station, and I'm crossed, and a big bus goes past, and it's green, and it says Silver Fox. Silver Fox buses. It's got down the side of it in silver writing, obviously. And I'm just like, Silver Fox, very good. One of us is a good-looking old guy that drives that, but you know whatever. I founded that company, and then I get in, and there's Jose looking like somebody that would play God in a Jim Jarmusch film. In fact, looking like Jim Jarmusch, let's be honest. He's silver. Never mind double denim. This is like quintuple silver. He's got the silver hair. He's got, I saw him in the car on the big screens. He had a silver scarf on as well, but just I could see it's like a silver coat, a silver trousers, silver shoes, and a silver scarf. And at one point, he just kind of turned round, and his watch glinted. It's some sort of, diamond encrusted Rolex. So he was looking the absolute parts. Jose Mourinho, he was living up to but he could have been an evil villain. If you just given him a big fluffy pussycat to sit down on the bench and stroke, he would have totally been a Bond villain. But as it was, I say, he looked like a kind of ironic version of the main deity, Zeus or whatever. And this is a guy who is silver. When it comes to European competition, he is silver. He has won 5 European competitions, 2 Champions League with Porto, and Inter, UEFA Cup with Porto, UEFA Cup when it became the Europa League with Man United, And with Roma, he won the Conference League and then got him to another the Europa League final the season after that. So this is as well as all the league titles he's won, as Barry himself has kept reminding us over the course of this tie. He's absolute god, an all-time footballing great, an all-time managerial great as Jose Mourinho, and he was looking the part tonight, even from the distance. I could see him from up in the back of the main stand. And I just thought, that Silver Fox, boss Silver, that's why they're beating us 2-0. We're going to put us out. The Silver Fox has outfoxed us again. The team tonight, so this is the worst post-match reaction pod ever, but I don't really care because you don't care either because Rangers are already through. The team, we only changed, it was Dujon Sterling, quite predictable changes. We went the same formation and tried to play it much the same way as we did in Istanbul, and I think that was a move that was okay with the vast majority of Rangers supporters. Certainly something I was willing, Barry, to do last night in my preview pod that I know he always listens to. And I was saying, like, see that noise? That noise is basically like my nerves all night tonight, and the rest of it's just jangling, kind of violent, jaggy, stabby sound. That's the way everybody was feeling through the course of that game tonight. A whole 120 minutes of that. But it was Leon Balogun coming in for the injured Robin Propper, and Dujon Sterling coming in at kind of right wing back. And we went with the 3-4-2-1. And I always like to check out the BBC Sports website before these games just to see what it is they get wrong. And they had Balogun as the central centre half. How they were working that out, I don't know. And John Souttar is the left centre half in the three. But no, John Souttar is right in the middle there, and it's Tav coming in as a right-handed centre half, and Balogun as a left-sided centre half. You had Dujon Sterling who'd come on for Yilmaz over in Istanbul in a kind of wide right position, kind of right full-back, whatever, wide right, and basically a 4 midfield. Hefty was the wide left, and you had Connor Barron and Nico Raskin sitting in the middle there to make up the 4, and the 2 was Czerny and Diamandi, and up front was Cyril Dessers, who we always think is more suited to playing away from home than he is to playing at Ibrox probably. Well, I certainly do anyway, and I think it was maybe kind of proven a bit tonight. We went for it. I was really, as I say, Dzeko and Tadic rested. I thought, he doesn't even care, Jose. Yeah, they cared. They were going for it. Big Amrabat seemed to be running the midfield all night, as far as I could see. He was immense, but it's really, I don't listen to it. I'm going to watch the game back at some point tomorrow night and try and get a wee pod out there on Saturday. Basically, the preview pod for the game at Parkhead is just going to be going over everything we did against Fenerbahçe tonight. But it seemed there was great energy for both teams for the first kind of quarter of an hour or so. They're both kind of going at it without anybody having any clear-cut chances. I know that part of the madness that started, some boys coming in the seats behind us, what's happening here? I looked away just as they had the moment where one of them get booked for diving, trying to get a penalty, trying to get a free kick at the edge of the box. I never actually saw it. I think he's thinking, have you seen the film Big Fan? But it's Patton Oswalt. It's a flipping fantastic film, really unheralded film. Fantastic. He's like mad about the New York Jets. And he hates the Philadelphia Eagles, obviously. It's bad. I was thinking about him a few months ago, but a few weeks back. But he's he's on the phone ins and that kind of thing all the time, just giving it loudy about the Jets, not how much he hates the Eagle. And then they go along to the game on the big day at Meadowlands, they call it, with the Jets and it's the Giants. So he's a Giants fan. It's New York Giants. Jesus Christ, the red, white, and blue. I know the green and white, but I knew it was the red, white, and blue. I just kept saying Sharks and the Jets and the Giants. He's a Giants fan, and they go along again. Like, right, okay, game day, and then the two of them just sit down outside in the car park and listen to it on the radio because they can't afford tickets to get in to the game. I don't think it's ever actually been into a game. And you might just think that's what I'm doing. You might think that's what because I don't know anything that happens during the game. It's like I can't even afford to watch the telly, and else I would know more details about the game. It's just the madness going around in the stadium, the tension. There was a bit where, was it in the series, was it Talisco or whatever his name is, get booked, and I think, did Mourinho get booked at that point? A rare moment of a Fenerbahçe employee being booked, because it just seemed to be the referee was going totally card happy every time Fenerbahce player hit the deck. Every time a Rangers player made a tackle, it was a foul, and it was a booking for the Rangers player. And I that's the thing about my bold predictions. I said, there's no way, Davey, there is no way we're going to last this game with all 11 players on the park, and we did. So that's why me saying we're getting, it's Athletic Bilbao that we'll get. Also scared me, because usually when I make a prediction out loud, it's 100% wrong. So there was this kind of stuff was they get booked left, right and centre. This is on the first half. There was a bit where Dessers, was it even him that got fouled? I think it was Diamande get booked. He went up to the referee and said, "Oh, what was that all about?" Referee booked him straight away, and then he kept arguing. You're like, Christ almighty. It must be a thing like, you know the captain, you're allowed to talk to me, but the guy was a card-happy pain in the arse. In the first half anyway, but I think he let us away with a few in the second half. Diamande in particular at one point just decided to pretend that he was injured. But I said right in the stroke of half time, I said they like to throw a high ball into the box. That's where they get most of their goals from. I think Barry said that in his pressers as well. I don't know who put the cross in. I don't know who scored it. I don't know. I think I heard somebody saying Dessers should have chased somebody down on that. I don't know the whole breakdown of the goal. It was just, they pinged one into the box and headed it into the back of the net right on the stroke of half time. I think it was like 45 minutes, basically, a couple of minutes injury time. We come in the second half and we changed. Was it 5 minutes in that we changed? What did that when he took off Sterling and we brought on Yilmaz and put him in right back, didn't we? Yeah, he went in at right back, the right kind of wing back. We're chasing the game again. I feel as if Rangers had the balance. We had the balance right for most of the first half. We were kind of defending, playing in that formation, but taking it forward. We didn't go to 4-2-3-1. Certainly, we weren't going all-out attack, trying to finish the game off. But we weren't sitting back, trying to hit brazenly on the counter-attack, try to absorb the pressure. But the change, obviously, that taking Tadic and Dzeko off, I think it gave Fenerbahce. Tadic, I think, is about 36 and Dzeko's about 104-year-old, so he's obviously gone for more pace and power, more energy, just to try and work us, and we felt worked. It was getting more and more under pressure, and I felt it was in the second half we needed to get more on the ball. We needed to be drawing fouls, just to ensure that if Fenerbahce were going to start getting as many players sent off as ourselves. And we then made another change, didn't we? Was it Bajrami come on for Diamande and Igaman come on for Dessers? That was about 68th minute, and we had about 4 or 5 minutes of really winning a corner and a free kick and stuff like that, and put them under a bit of pressure, and the whole place going crazy. I thought the crowd were fantastic tonight. I think the crowd understood. The crowd understood the remit. They understood that this time was far from over. They understood we could be defending. I think they were ready to lose a goal as well. We're ready to go a goal down, which is rare for the Ibrox crowd. I think even at 2-0 down, there's a lot of frustration obviously getting voiced. It's a tense game, but they never turned on the team at all. We were as patient, we were as European savvy. We've now got a European savvy crowd as well, who totally understands the context and what's at stake and what we're up against. But it's 4 or 5 minutes, a bit of pressure. Oh, it's going to be okay. That's them. They've blown a gasket. At which point, Fenerbahce went up the park and just walked into the back of the net. That's what it seemed like for me. I mean, I don't know who scored. I no idea which player put it at the back of the net for them. But that was it 74, 75 minutes, and that was it. It was 2-0. It was all square. No away goals. We'd have been throwing away goals if they'd. We wouldn't have scored 3 away goals if away goals counted double. You know what I mean? So it was brutal. It was absolutely horrendous. And at that point in time, it's so in the balance. It's basically all square. Go to extra time. I don't know. Just total. It's just a wall of tension. Did anything happen? I can't remember. Tom Lawrence come on at some point, and then it was penalties. And I've said that Jack Butland just always plays better, as far as I'm concerned, when he's got John Suter in front of him. And the main reason I'm trying to go up the road tonight isn't to watch the scenes of celebration. It's to see the interviews with Jack Butland and see if he's doing his whole guru, self-help kind of winning mentality, kind of England rugby team doing a whole lot of Vince Lombardi quotes and things like that. How he's going to, yeah, totally. But I hope he's a bit emotional and a bit kind of, this is a big moment for me. But it's a big moment for the team and all that. But the guy's a hero. He was a hero. He's a hero, Big Jack. I've given him a hard time this season because he's been ropey as anything. He's cost us stuff. He cost us the last time we played in the league, but he was immense tonight. He did dominate. He dominated. And I said I met my pals there, just in the way the other main stand as well, and we're talking about the number of times that you say to yourself, you're watching penalty shootouts, and this is the 3rd straight, 3 nights straight. I fucking watched watch a bit of Champions League. Watch a bit of Champions League. What's the point of having all these channels if you don't watch some live Champions League Tuesday night? I'll watch Liverpool home to PSG. I know the away team. Liverpool won the first leg away from home, get beat at home. The second leg it goes to penalties, and out they go. Well, that's brutal. That's so tense. Atletico, I'm so up for Atletico Madrid beating Real Madrid. I love Atleti, and watched that last night. And it's just like they scored a goal at 40 seconds in, and it's 120 minutes after that, no more goals, and you saw what happened. The craziness with the penalties in that game, and it's like. I should have known. I should have known tonight. It's 3 in a row. This one I'm actually at the game as opposed to watching it on television. It goes to penalties. It's extra time and all that. But the Rangers came through it. What was the order? What was the order of the... Tav scored his penalty, but he goes second. Did Czerny go first? And that's what Robert, my pal, was reminding me. That it got announced that Danilo was coming on for Czerny, because Czerny was getting mad. He always looks knackered towards the end of a game. He put so much into it, Václav Czerny, and he was getting the mad kind of on-field massaging while I was wish somebody would massage my soul, my brain. Just at that point in time, I can't take any more of this. I am fried. I feel as if I've never seen Rangers. I've been to like 700, 800 games at Ibrox, and according to Footballogy, and I don't think I've ever seen Rangers winning there. That's what it feels like just now. And he's getting the heavy massage. And Danilo was going to come on. Was that half time and extra time? Was it at full time? I can't remember. And he's getting consoled. Channing was getting consoled by somebody. Like, don't worry about it, mate. You give it a good. One of his teammates. That's you're going to have to go off. I wish I could have done more. He's saying. I'm thinking, right, Channy's going off. And I didn't really realise Channy was still in the park until he scored his penalty. Yanis Hadji, the man from Istanbul, he misses his, but Fenerbahçe missed their first penalty. They took the penalty first. They go first. They went first. Jack Butland, great save. I think it was, I don't know, Czerny first, he scores. Then they scored the next penalty. Dzeko definitely scored a penalty. Tav scores, so it's 2-1. I think they scored the next penalty. And then Hadji comes up and he missed. The keeper touched it onto the post. And my huge prediction did not come true. Thank God. Remember I was saying last night that the guy, the Croatian, is it Lavatovic, the Croatian goalkeeper, I think he was on the bench tonight. He was definitely on the bench for the first leg. He's a penalty saving expert. He saved the penalty against Union St Gilloise. He was actually playing in the game, their first Europa League group stage game this season. But he comes up and I thought he's going to get brought on. If it goes to extra time and penalties, he's going to get brought on the 120th minute by Jose for the penalty shootout. And he didn't. And I was like, oh, that's good. It's no the penalty specialist goalkeeper. That gave me a bit of hope. Then Hadji, I'm thinking, Galatasaray. His dad is Galatasaray. He's born in Istanbul. He bleeds red and yellow, does Yanis. Keeper touches it onto the post. I'm thinking, that's bad. That's a bad portent. That really is bad. When the guy who utterly hates Fenerbahce, it was a bit like Alfredo Morelos hated Celtic so much that he used to choke. He gets so excited about scoring against them that he only ended up managing 3 goals against them the whole time he was here. But anyway, it didn't go in. You think the worst of it, and Jack Butland saved another one. And the time the guy comes up, and that's what I said to you, but how many times have you watched a penalty shootout and you're watching the guy coming up, you're thinking, oh, he's crapping himself, especially if it's one you're disinterested, you don't really support either team that's involved in the penalty shootout. You're watching it on telly and you go, he's crapping himself, or he's totally nervous, and the guy just slots it away, calm as you like. You can see he's gone to pieces. He can't handle the atmosphere here. He's got no self-belief whatsoever. Look at the way his shoulders are slumped. Panenka, no bother, and it goes. So when the final fella come up to take the penalty for Fenerbahce, the crowd was going. There was a great vibe, and you could see Jack Butland getting bigger every time he was in nets. He was going back in goals. He was absolutely loving it. This was a moment he'd lived for. And the guy, he didn't just miss it. It was Vinicius Jr. again. It was as Davey sits along with me and said. So he's got the conversion anyway. By the time things had calmed down a wee bit, but it was well over the bar, into the Copeland. The Copeland sucked it in the best possible way. And the place went mad. The place went mental. The relief was everywhere, and the team get a standing ovation. Doesn't matter how we did it. We fucking did it, and it was absolutely lovely. Jack Butland, I think Jack Butland, did he have that? Is that a penalty Celtic beat us at Parkhead? I think Jack Butland, did he save one? It was a terrible penalty they hit. It was that fella they sold to Brighton. I think they beaten us 2-0 or 2-1 at the time. I can't remember, but he came up and it was an awful penalty. It was more of a kind of miss by the penalty taker than a save by Jack Butland. But that, I think by the time, even though he blasted it well over the bar, I think he'd completely out-vibed Fenerbahce. They shot their boat. What a support they had on the night. I've just been watching them leaving there past the old the barrier. Thank goodness the barrier's there. Turks are a bit tasty. But they were a fantastic support they had with them tonight. I had to watch them going completely mental. 2 times, a third time when Hadji misses his penalty. They must have thought, this is locked in. Hadji, the Galatasaray hero, the son of the Galatasaray hero, another Galatasaray hero in waiting. He has missed his penalty. But after the agony of the League Cup final, it was lovely to see us. The agony of the League Cup final where a Turk missed their penalty, and tonight we beat the Turks on penalties for a far more significant result. And that's the thing. This season, this is it. That's fine. That'll do for me. Don't get humped. Obviously, that's always my first super optimistic target when it comes to these kind of prestige games. Don't get humped. But get into a quarter-final. I think finishing the top 8, automatically qualifying for the last 16 of the Europa League, I think it was a phenomenal achievement. Given the coefficient Scotland State and the European stage, population of 5 million, the comparative money we've got. Oh, you get France and Portugal and the Dutch even in there, never mind England, Germany, Italy, the money these super leagues have got. It's absolutely phenomenal just to qualify automatically. That's a great. You look at Olympiacos. I left the house. We're getting beat 1-0 by Bodo Glimt in Piraeus, and they lost it away leg 3-0. It's a hard job. The European stuff is really difficult. That in itself, I think, in real terms, should cancel out what Queen's Park did to us. Just the mere qualifying for the last 16 automatically like that from Europa League. But because of us, because of our history, because of the place that Scottish football has come from in global football, being like the best nation in the world back in the Victorian era, when Rangers were formed, when Rangers were a big part of it, and us not losing to a lower league team in the Scottish Cup for over 150 years, or 151 years. And watching that, it would take more than that. For some people, it would take winning the Europa League to make up for that. But I think this is it. I think, in real terms, getting to a quarter-final in this day and age for a Scottish team, getting to a quarter-final of European competition is a phenomenal achievement. And this is what the third time we've done it since 2008. So, 2008 inclusive up to now. It's just glorious. It's beautiful. The finals in Bilbao, it was always, as soon as the pre-draw was made, the bracket was drawn up after the group stage had ended, it was obvious that Rangers, if they were going to get to the final, they wouldn't be playing Athletic Bilbao. So it means there'll be more tickets for us. The home team isn't going to be trying to source more. Even though UEFA officially would still be divvying up the tickets evenly between the two teams that reach the final. If one of them was Athletic Bilbao, they've got ways and means. They would be taking over most of that stadium. So if we do get to the final, at least we know we've got a fighting chance. I hear Real Sociedad have gone out. Robert was telling me that Man U progressed. So that means there's no way we can have 3 straight games in the Basque region, Esquerra Casco. But I think this will do. I can't see us going any further than Athletic Bilbao. Look how close this game was over the 2 legs, and how old a lot of the Fenerbahçe players are. Fenerbahçe they've reached, I think, 1 semi-final in their entire history of European competition. Amazing players and one of the greatest managers of all time. But the away leg as well, as I say, it was tooth and nail, the defending at times, and it was tooth and nail over the entire tie. Penalties was the difference anybody else were going to get from now on, unless Man U somehow get past, but it would be Athletic Bilbao. Then I think we're looking at Lyon. I'm assuming they've gone through as well. So it'll be Man U, Lyon, I'm assuming, unless there's been an absolute car crash for them against FCSB. Lyon, they beat us 4-1 here. They beat us by a goal more than Fenerbahçe beat us here tonight. I think we're really struggling to go any further than this, but never say never. You have to be in it to win it. But I think for me, I've said this before, I've said it so many times, I think reaching a group stage, especially qualifying from a group stage for any Scottish club, is easily better than winning the League Cup and winning the Scottish Cup. Maybe not winning the league title. I'll give our next opponents that. But this tonight is definitely beats winning the Scottish League title. It's a unique achievement. If your whole thing in Scotland is to do better in a competition than any other Scottish team in the arena of European football, Rangers once again are Scotland's premier club, and this is the stuff that the whole of Europe watches. The whole of Europe takes note of. They don't give a shit who wins their domestic trophies. And that's a terrible thing. That's a bitter. I'm being really bitter there. I'm being really bitter and small-minded because we're not winning the domestic trophies. But if there's a nice way of putting that, I just mean it's a kind of consolation, but also it's just a cold hard fact. As I say, I always remember Celtic got to the final in Seville 2003, being told by quite a few folk, reporters, etc., that nobody's going to remember the fact Rangers have won the treble this season. It's all about Celtic getting to a European final. Well, getting to a European quarter-final, I think you'll let us see that as being the equivalent of anything that's been achieved in the Scottish domestic scene this season, which is just as well, as I say, because we've been horrendous in the Scottish domestic scene. Really good League Cup. We're unlucky not to win the League Cup. The league, it's just not been good enough. It's been a rebuild season. The Scottish Cup, we went below the acceptable level for Rangers, even in a rebuild season, even with all the problems we've got off field and not having our own stadium this season. But to get to a European quarter final in this day and age, I think compensates for that. So we've gone above the level, and it's now maintained as a rebuild season. And with the takeover coming at the end of May, everybody's telling me, reliable sources are telling me this is a beautiful way to go into it. And I can't wait to see Athletic Bilbao. It's a personal thing for me. I have got my wee list of teams I want to see, and this is the 7th home European game this season. They're getting more expensive. It's £46 a night. That's with my Gers and the season ticket and the continual credit card scheme and all that. So I don't know, they'll probably go over the £50 mark for Athletic Bilbao, but a glorious club. I've been to Bilbao on holiday, and I was in Bilbao, I've told you this before on this pod, I was in Bilbao on holiday for a week. It was in 2007, the summer of 2007. And at the end of that season, of course, the 2007, just be a couple of weeks before I went to see Rangers against Zeta, FC Zeta of Montenegro, at the start of that European run that ended up with us getting to Manchester, me getting to see Rangers in a European final for the first time in my life. And the hotel I stayed at, I didn't realise until I was going through the photographs a few years later, photograph outside the hotel, it was the Hotel Zenit. The Hotel Zenit St. Petersburg. So Bilbao in European finals, it's got a thing for Rangers. We played them in 68, 69. The only other time we played Athletic Bilbao in European competition. We beat them, I think it was 4-0 or 4-1. We beat them at Ibrox. I think we lost 2-0 in San Mames, the old San Mames. When I was in Bilbao on holiday, I went on a tour of San Mames. I've never seen the team. I've never seen the club playing. But I went on a tour of San Mames Stadium, and it's up there with, I think the other one would be the Parc des Princes in Paris, a stadium I've been in that's been empty, and you can feel the atmosphere. You could feel the atmosphere. No longer there, obviously. They knocked it down and rebuilt right next to the current San Mames, La Catedral, and the statue of Pichichi, the Pichichi Award goes to the top scorer in La Liga each season, an absolute legend, Pichichi, in Bilbao, and there's the bust of him, and it was the tradition was that visiting teams would go and put flowers down if it was the first time they visited. So I'm hoping, because strictly speaking, being the away team, and I think if we got all the way to the final, we'd still be the away team anyway, but I'm hoping it's a new stadium, it's a new San Mames. We go along there, and I'm assuming the bust is still there. And I always wondered, back in 68, 69, did John Gregg go and put the flowers down at the bust of Pichichi? And I'm hoping that we get to do that. Maybe it's Tav. I think it's supposed to be the captain of the visiting team does it, so I'm hoping Tav does that when we go and train in San Mames. It's a beautiful thing about getting the finals. We've all been talking about Bilbao from the moment we got into the group stage, and here we are. We're going to get to play there. Beautiful club, Athletic Bilbao, and they're going to meet a beautiful club. In that time we played them, 68, 69, that's the last European campaign. The previous time we played them, the Fairs Cup, and we eventually get put out in the semi-final by Newcastle, who won the thing. But that's the last European campaign Rangers played before I was born. So it's all about me. That's the thing, it's all about me. And that's why I've talked for nearly an hour. I'm going to try and keep my pods to under an hour these days, but it's kind of difficult after a game like that. Sorry for ranting and raving, folks. But the one thing I will say is Barry Ferguson, check out Jazznet tomorrow night. And I was talking about Barry. that little jump on the Gersnet pod I was on last Friday night, a little break in transmission that makes it sound like I'm talking about Barry as if he's gone from Clyde's managing Celtic Hearts and Clyde and Alloa to being the manager of Real Madrid. Well, he's just beat a former manager of Real Madrid, and now La Liga is coming to Ibrox. It's Gary Casco. Cheers, folks.